we're trying to get it through here, but it's just on bringing. Sorry, Sally. Thank you. So what? It's not a spreadsheet, but it's explain.
So next time we have a meeting, we'll be putting together a list of all the key projects that we're working on that we're going to discuss with you. Largely we'll be looking at those major projects over the results, but we'll
Could you speak up, please?
We
Sorry.
just can't hear.
No.
so close to my mouth. Is that better?
No.
No.
That's it.
Only me.
Not really.
Not much. I forgot my hearing aid.
No.
Oh, mine's on.
Yep, yours is certainly on.
Do you want me to say something?
No.
Thank you.
Oh, it's not.
Yes.
All right. How are we going? Okay, so next meeting, gosh, it feels really, really loud now. We will be bringing to you a presentation around updates on all of our key projects. We'll specifically be looking at those that are over $1 million, but also anything that's really key or strategic for council, for example, looking at our dirty water management projects. So we'll pull that together. There's a report that will come with that, but we'll do a presentation and discuss those main projects, and we can go from there and see whether that's actually working for you, and if you want more detail, we can adjust as required.
Thank you.
Sorry, just through the chair. Is that specifically relating to Three Waters?
There obviously will be a large proportion of that around Three Waters, but it'll be all major projects.
All major projects. Thank you.
Is mine working?
No.
No.
Right.
Yes.
Whoops. I got a bit carried away.
So we were hoping to have that report for today, but we're still working on it.
Round the wrong way.
That'll be going. Can I have confirmations of minutes for a meeting held on 30th of July 2020? First by Councillor Mawson, second by Deputy Mayor Brosnan. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Councillor Mawson.
Aye.
Second by Deputy Mayor Brosnan. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. And the minutes of the extraordinary Sustainable Napier meeting on the 3rd of August 2020, moved by Councillor Crystal, seconded by Councillor Taylor. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Right, we'll move on to agenda item 1, communication and engagement strategy. This is Rebecca. Will give us a rundown on that.
Test the mic. Testing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kia ora koutou. So we're here today just to talk about the communication and engagement strategy for the water program for Napier. Just a little bit of introduction on the paper, and then we'll also like to show you a short presentation on some of the visuals around how this is going to look for the community. So just a bit of background. So in December last year, after Council confirmed water as its top priority, you directed us to develop a communications and engagement program. And once we started looking at the breadth and depth of the water program, we looked at needing to develop a framework around how we were going to communicate to the community and our key stakeholders around everything that was being done. So we put together a working group, and thank you to councillors Crown and Simpson for joining us to develop the strategy. And unfortunately, COVID happened, which created a little bit of a delay while we were looking at other priorities at the time. Excuse me. So water is a significant matter for the community. It touches everybody and affects the way that we live, work and play in Napier. So it has far-reaching consequences if things go wrong. And we've all been aware of some of the issues that have played out in the community as a result of some of the work that we've had to undertake. So the purpose of the strategy really is to raise visibility of all the work that is happening now, but also planned for the future, and also to build confidence in our community that we are working on it, and that we are trying to address the issues that they're currently experiencing. So some of the key principles that we have developed around this process is that that we wanted to make sure that everything that we were doing was really clear and understandable and relatable to the community. The water program is full of technicalities, and if you're not an engineer, it is quite difficult to figure out what's going on. So one of the key principles for us was to make sure that all of our communication and engagement is able to be understood, and then people have a really good knowledge of what's happening. The other thing that we wanted to make sure was that we were open, and that is about sometimes the work that will be undertaken is experimental and exploratory, and may or may not solve the issues that we're dealing with. So we needed to be upfront about that and make sure that people understand when we are exploring and when things are actually being solved or not. And finally, the principle of acknowledgement. So acknowledging that the community has had some difficult issues to face, and some more than others, and that in our communication that we acknowledge that and try to provide opportunities for people to engage with us and provide us feedback along the way. So our approach is to keep things simple, and we talk a lot about three waters. To the general public, sometimes that isn't clear what those three waters are. So we have thought that our approach really is about talking about water, simply water. And another aspect of the communication strategy is that we want to talk about the work that we're doing, not that necessarily we have solved everything. So we've developed a brand and a key message, which is water, we're on it. And that is to reflect that we are taking this seriously, we are working on this constantly, and but that we haven't necessarily got all the answers right away, and that some things are going to take longer than others. And finally, our approach is that we are keen to provide opportunities for people to participate in some of the solutions where it's possible, and there will be also opportunities to partner with council, and that will be for key stakeholders and community members as well. Just like to draw attention to the framework that's attached to the policy. Because there's so many moving parts in this program, and some are long-term projects and some are shorter-term projects, we really needed to develop a framework of how we were going to communicate everything that was happening. And so we have the overall strategy, which is what's coming to you today to consider, and we have a whole program of work that we will be developing and communicating out around everything that we're doing. So really the overall program, and ensuring that we're capturing not only the major projects but all the work that is going on to from clearing pipes to finding leaks in the system, from installing dechlorinated water stations, right through to the big projects around finding new bores. So that's a general approach where we wanted to promote everything out to the community on a regular basis, and find a way to ensure that people know where to go for information about the whole shebang, if you like. But also we needed to develop individual plans for each of the major projects. So that's that second level in the framework we've named child plans. And because each project has its own stakeholders, it has opportunities that might be different in terms of engagement and communication. So some of the ones that we've identified initially in the framework are we have some opportunities to engage quite directly with the community that is affected and as well as the community as a whole. And then finally, the baby plan is really where the nuts and bolts happen around what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, when, and who's involved from our teams and also other stakeholders that we might be engaging with. So it's more of an operational project plan scenario. What I'd like to do now is hand over to Beck, who is going to just take you through the brand and where things will be in terms of on the website and how this visibility is going to happen for us.
Well, good morning, everyone. As Natasha said, we've developed the Water We're On It, and really it is a badge that we'll integrate with all our current communications and our current brand. And we've used the pink because it will be very visible wherever you go. It really will pop, and the community will get to understand when they see that badge that it's relating to water and there's some information to tell them. So it needs to be really easy to apply, and I think we've achieved that through some of the examples we're going to show you now. So here's the visual up there of how it will look, and we've developed, as Natasha was talking about, with the All Waters, the water plan in terms of the examples that we'd use. This is an example here of a Google display ad that might pop up on an app. So we just want to direct people to the website, which is where the current information will always be up to date in terms of the projects that we're working on. Now I'll take you through to our website and you can have a look at how that's looking. So on the website there's this tile here, so that will be front and foremost all the time on our website, so it'll be easy to find. And when you click on that, it will take you through to our water projects. And they are listed there. So on each project, we've got 5 up there to start with, but there'll be more added as we get moving along. And by clicking on each of those, you can go through to more detail about each project. It'll show a detailed sort of project bar, progress bar. So each of those little droplets represent 20%. So it's just a very simple, easy way to understand how we're going and how far through the project we are, including budget and an update or status that will be updated very regularly by our team. So that just shows you a little bit of how that will look, but that will always be up to date. If anyone needs any information, that's the place to go. And then just heading back there, our presentation. So it just takes on different life depending on the communication tool we're using. So for example, it might be a billboard at a project explaining what's happening. And there's an example of the dechlorinated water station. And we'll make it visible with our team who are working on water as well.
I think it also demonstrates that we're not only focusing on the capital projects, we're focusing on the operations as well, just to ensure that the community can see everything that we're doing in the water space, not just the focus on the big major projects. So we're happy to take any questions or feedback.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, that looks really interesting. I guess when I read through the document, I wasn't 100% sure whether this was the 3 waters by All Waters, but I understand that's an easier way of saying the 3 waters. However, there's not a lot of mention of stormwater. I looked on page 9, with your graph of the different kind of projects we're doing. It is an important part.
Absolutely.
So is that going to be part of the presentations?
Through the chair. So what we've done is we've highlighted the projects that are current, and of course the major projects in the capital plan, and there will be projects that come in and out of the framework. So what you're seeing in the strategy is just what is on top now, and we will be ensuring that all of the projects start coming into that website and all of our communications out. It's just about like tapping into those master plans and pulling those out to communicate. So it just depends on when they are starting to be initiated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another thing you say is that water is of interest to key stakeholders, particularly Māori. And I was wondering if there could be, I'm not talking about tokenism, but some Māori focus in this strategy, some visible acknowledgement of Māori values or views on why, which is, really important at all aspects of water.
Through the chair. So we are intending to develop a Māori stakeholder engagement plan to run alongside this, and certainly we'll take that advice and incorporate that. I think all these, like a strategy, can be improved and change as we get further and further into the program. So we have developed this as a 2-year strategy, but of course there'll be some things that will need to change along the way.
Just one other thing, if you don't mind, Chair. I'm just curious about water, we're on it. I mean, when you read it at face value, it's like you're on top of water, which I suppose we are on top of water in a way. I just wondered, what does it mean? What do you see it as meaning, and why was that chosen?
So through the chair, I suppose it's almost a question back to everybody here, is what does that mean to you? And I think it's a relatable statement that is quite current, and it's also quite general, so that we're not being too specific about what we're doing, and it's not about explaining ourselves. It's just saying that we are on it, and we're doing things. It's very action oriented. So I think one of the key feedbacks that we've had from the council is that we need to demonstrate to the community that we are working on this, that we don't have all the answers necessarily, but that it is our top priority. So it is a brand that could be used for other aspects of our work going forward if it works, but we do think that it is very relatable to the community as well.
Thanks.
I would, through you, Mr. Chair, thank you. It was actually a very good opportunity to work closely with quite a range of staff on this activity, and it was quite enlightening to hear the different views and come together with a consistent message, which is great. I think the most important thing is that we have a strategy that is evolving. It'll be a living strategy, so that as activities are complete, new activities can come in, whatever the priorities are or whatever the major outcomes that we need to communicate with our residents. It gives us a magic tool to use in that respect. So from that perspective, I think it's a good development and very positive.
Nothing further to add, thank you. Through the chair. It's great that we've got this coming to us today for formal adoption. I think we are all collectively committed to water being our number one priority, and one of the questions that I get the most when I'm out in the community is questions about what is happening with our water projects and what we've got planned. So this strategy will provide that framework now, which is absolutely vital, so that we can keep our community informed, share our plan. And what I also really like is that we're looking for opportunities to provide our community, a chance to participate and actually work in partnership with us as we work through this huge volume of work that we have over the coming years. So I'm completely supportive of the resolution before us today and just thrilled that we're moving forward with this.
Thank you for all the work that you put into this. It was a good document. I do like the punchline.
Thank you.
So I'll put the motion. Those in favour of approving the all-water communication engagement strategy for implementation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.